Hello, my name is Allison Carmen, and welcome to my podcast, 10 Minutes to Less Suffering. And the name of today's podcast is With Gratitude, Optimism is Sustainable. And this is a quote by Michael J. Fox. Michael J. Fox has a documentary film out right now called Still. And the film is about his life, his career, and his struggle with Parkinson's disease. And one of the most amazing things about Michael J. Fox in his interviews and in the documentary film is that he doesn't want you to see him as a victim, is that he's strong, he's resilient, and most of all, he's an optimist. And with all his struggles and all his pain, and he's broken so many bones on his body, including his face, he has trouble walking, trouble speaking, and yet he still says, if I could find something to be grateful in every day, I can win that day. Because he believes with gratitude, optimism is sustainable. And although they didn't speak about this on the documentary or in any of the interviews that I watched, what's also interesting about Michael J. Fox is that he doesn't seem to fear uncertainty. He says he wakes up every morning and he enjoys the little math problems of life. He likes waking up and figuring them out. So it seems to me that his optimism is from his gratitude, but he didn't seem to be afraid of the unknown. He seemed to be able to live with it and at the same time enjoy the moments that he can. Keep trying to research a cure for Parkinson's disease, keep himself busy, enjoy his family. And he even matter-of-factly said that he didn't expect to live another 20 years. He expected that something would deteriorate within his body. And he said it without fear. He said it very matter-of-fact. But at the same time, he urged all of us to be grateful, to find something to look forward to, and carry on. And again, there we are. To maintain optimism is to be okay with uncertainty, to be able to work with the unknown, to be able to solve the problems that we can, stay in the moment when we can, and be very grateful for the blessings that we have. And many of us who get upset and get aggravated and stressed and worried when something doesn't go our way, when we have a problem that we don't know how to solve, whether it's a job loss or a relationship or a health problem, life can feel very uncomfortable. It can be physically painful, mentally, spiritually. We can feel lost. And a lot of us feel pulled towards that negativity. And it takes over, it takes center stage. But when you look at Michael J. Fox, you see him shaking, you see him struggling, yet he's saying that gratitude is his center stage. His lack of fear appears to be his center stage. His willingness to wake up every day and enjoy the mathematical equations that come up, which is solving the unknown. It's trying to figure out what we can't know. And sometimes at the end of the day, we've had beautiful moments, we've had blessings, sometimes we've solved some problems. But we have to be able to live with what we don't know in order to maintain that type of optimism. And when it comes to gratitude, it's about remembering. And I know I've talked about this before, but we just need to continuously remember the blessings and not let what scares us, not let what's uncomfortable, not let what we don't like override us every day. And it's not that we can't be upset about these things. It's not that we have to like them. But there are beautiful blessings happening every minute. There are things in our life that we have every day that if we lost, we'd be devastated. But instead of appreciating them, we let our mind go someplace else, to what's not happening, to what we don't like, when everything that we love often is exactly where it needs to be. So if we could remember the gratitude all day long, from the minute we wake up until we go to sleep, we will have a richer life. We will have more optimism because our mindset is focusing on abundance, on love, and not on lack. Michael J. Fox also mentions in one of his interviews that it's getting tougher to reclaim what's taken from him, but he still has an opportunity to make a difference. And I think that's another reason why sometimes we struggle with gratitude, because we lose things that we love that we don't get back. And yet we still have to be grateful for what we have. And I can't compare my husband leaving me to a terminal illness, but it's something that I cannot reclaim, that's been taken. That idea of a family, of the idea of being married to the person that I share kids with, having the life that I thought I would have, I cannot reclaim it. Yet I still have opportunities to make a difference. And I still have places to be grateful. So every day you get to choose. As hard as it is, as painful as it is, and sometimes maybe it's the last thing you want to do that day. But life will be calling you every day for something. And if we stay in the lack, and if we stay in what we've lost, and if we stay in what we wish we had, as life moves, as life calls for us, we will not hear it, and we will not move with what life still has to offer. Like Michael J. Fox said, every day find something to look forward to and carry on. So this idea of gratitude does sustain us, because it's always reminding us of what we still have. But the second ingredient, which is so important, is sometimes we forget that gratitude because the fear takes over. The fear that we're not okay, the fear that things are not working out, the fear of loss, the fear of something we didn't expect in our lives. And so if that fear takes over, we can't even reach for the gratitude. And that is why I always talk about our relationship with the unknown. I always talk about the idea of maybe, because gratitude with maybe helps us live more in the blessing, more in what is instead of what's not. And it's so interesting, at the end of one of Michael J. Fox's interview, he said, I have hope I will not break bones tomorrow. And in a way, what he was saying is, I sustain hope because tomorrow's unknown. And in that unknown is the possibility that I will be okay. And he lives with the possibility that there will be a cure for Parkinson's disease. He might be around for it, he might not be, but he knows that every day he doesn't know what's going to happen. That means good things can happen too. And I think Michael J. Fox has showed us that no matter what happens in our lives, we can give it meaning. We can make a difference. And we could find the precious point of every day, of every moment. We could surround ourselves with people we love. We could be creative. We could be passionate. We can give meaning to something that has happened to us. And we can fill our heart with love and choose differently every day with gratitude. And I'm also going to put in there, maybe optimism can be sustainable, because maybe there's something today that will fill your heart with joy if you're just aware enough to see it. And maybe that negative thought you have today is not true, and maybe something else will happen. Maybe what's ever happening, you could accept it and still be okay. And there always is the possibility, if you're willing to open your heart and open your mind and let new things into your life, that maybe the best is yet to come. Thank you for listening to this podcast today. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you can email me at allison@allisoncarmen.com. If you'd like to buy my books, The Gift of Maybe or Year Without Men, they're available at all major bookstores and online retailers. And if you like this podcast, you could subscribe and leave a comment.